The village of Oji-Obodo had never known such a silence. Not even when the rains refused to come. Not even when the war drums once thundered from the hills. This silence was different, had weight, like a secret finally spoken aloud. At dawn, the elders gathered at the square. The firewood beneath the cooking pots crackled, but no one spoke. Not even Mom and Week, who always had something to say. All eyes were fixed on Pa Abika, seated on a low stool, face buried in his palms. His confession the night before had spread faster than harmattan fire. "I killed my brother for land." It echoed through the hearts of every villager who had once respected him. The children had run. The women had wept. The men had stared. Ugonma watched from behind her mother's hut. She hadn't slept. Her hands still tingled from touching the drum. Her ears still rang from the sound it made. But it was what she felt inside that frightened her most. The sense that this was just the beginning. She tried to stay hidden, but Nena had seen her. The old seer had been quiet all night, staring into the empty fire pit as if it whispered to her. Now, her tired eyes turned slowly to her daughter. "What did you touch in that grove?" she asked, not in anger, but in knowing. Ugonma swallowed hard. "A drum, Mama," she whispered. "It was old, and it called me." Nena's shoulders dropped. Her voice was thin, barely a breath. "Equi nuda," she said. "The drum that never speaks unless the world is rotting." Ugonma blinked. "You knew." "I saw it in dreams long ago. Buried the vision. I prayed it would never come. But the ancestors, they remember what we try to forget." In the square, Pa Abika began to tremble. The village priest, Obina, placed a hand on his shoulder, but the old man slapped it away. "No prayers can cleanse me," he said. "The land must know what I did." He stood up, shaky but defiant. "I poisoned my brother's palm wine. I blamed the fever. I took his land, and I used it to build my compound. The gods watched, and I thought they forgot." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone wailed. A boy began to cry. The drum had not just forced a confession. It had shattered a legacy. From the far end of the crowd, a voice rose. It was Mama Ifioma, Pa Abika's sister. Her voice cracked. "And my son, you lied when he vanished. You said he left for the city." Pa Abika fell to his knees. He began to weep. "He caught me burying the gourd. Panic. I struck him. He hit his head. I hid him beneath the Udala tree." The crowd recoiled. No one moved. No one ran. They only stared at a man turned to ash by his own words. In the shadows, Ugonma backed away. Her hands shook. The drum had not followed her, but its echo had. In every whisper, in every eye, in every breath the villagers took. Her mother rose from the mat. "You must go back," she said softly. "The drum isn't finished." Ugonma turned to her. "But why me?" "Because you are the one it answered," Nena replied. "And once it speaks to you, it cannot be ignored." A soft wind rose then, curling around their feet, carrying the scent of palm oil, ash, and something older than both. Somewhere in the forest, the drum stirred again. Not loud but steady. Waiting. By the next morning, Oji-Obodo was no longer the village it had been. Elders walked with eyes lowered. Women swept the same spot twice. Children no longer sang as they fetched water. Something had shifted. The air had grown thick with the scent of fear. Word of Pa Abika's confession had reached the neighboring villages. Strangers stood at the edges of the market, pretending to buy yam, but really listening for whispers. The village, once proud and private, had become a place of watching eyes and silent mouths. Inside her mother's compound, Ugonma sat with her knees pulled to her chest. She hadn't spoken since the previous evening. Her hands still trembled, but not from fear anymore, from a strange pull, like the drum was calling her back, like it knew she had left unfinished business. Nena lit incense near her shrine, whispering to spirits she hadn't called upon in years. Her voice trembled with guilt and urgency. "You sent the child a burden meant for me," she whispered. "She is not ready." From the forest the wind changed. It carried no sound at first, just a pressure, a vibration in the bones. Then slowly, faintly, the drum began again. One beat, then silence, then another. A slow, patient rhythm like footsteps approaching. At the village square, the sound reached them all. Heads turned. Children looked to their mothers. And from the far end of the path leading to the grove, a second figure emerged. It was Chioma, the midwife. Her wrapper was loose. Her feet were dusty. Her face was pale. She did not speak. She only walked to the center of the square, turned to the people, and dropped to her knees. "I swapped a child," she said. Gasps burst from the crowd. Chief Ayaka stepped forward. "What did you say?" Chioma's lips trembled. 18 years ago, your wife birthed twins, but one was still. So I took a living child from another woman, a girl, born the same night to a poor widow who died in labor. I gave her to you and buried your son before dawn." A scream erupted from Chief Ayaka's wife. She rushed forward, slapping the midwife, falling to the ground, tearing her head tie. "My daughter is not mine." Chioma wept openly. "I thought I was saving you. I thought." It didn't matter. But it did. It mattered to the girl. It mattered to the motherless child. It mattered to the spirit world, which had waited years for this truth to surface. From behind a hut, a teenage girl emerged, the one the chief called daughter. She looked from the woman who raised her to the crowd, then back to Chioma. Her eyes did not cry. They only stared. Cold. "Hello. So who am I?" she asked. No one could answer. Ugonma felt the pull again. The drum was not just exposing secrets. It was cracking the ground beneath everything the village believed to be true. Back home, Nena sat with her head bowed. "The gods are not punishing us," she murmured. "They are cleaning the wound." And the wound, she knew, was far from healed. The elders of Oji-Obodo gathered beneath the big irako tree long before the sun reached the village square. They came in silence, their walking sticks thudding softly on the red earth, their eyes hollow with unrest. No kola nut was broken. No palm wine was poured. The sacred rituals meant to open meetings were left untouched. They knew why they were there. The drum, the confessions, the unraveling. Elder Uds was the first to speak. "It is no longer a girl's doing," he said. "This is the work of something greater, something old." "It is judgment," said Elder Madhu, voice raspy, "for what we buried long ago." The other elders said nothing. Their silence was not ignorance. It was guilt and fear. In her mother's compound, Ugonma sat quietly, plucking dry leaves from a calabash. But her fingers moved without purpose. Her mind wandered to the grove, to the drum, to the voices she could not unhear. Nena returned from the shrine, her face smudged with ash. "The ancestors are stirring," she said softly. "They are watching now. Every movement, every lie." Ugonma looked up. "What did they say?" "That it is no longer about you," Nena replied. "You were only the opening crack. The truth is leaking now, and it will flood everything before it stops." In the council clearing, Elder Okari finally stood. He had been silent the longest. His body was frail, but his words struck like thunder. "We did something," he said. "Many years ago, before most of these children were born, we made a pact." The younger elders looked around nervously. "What pact?" Okari closed his eyes. "We made a sacrifice to keep this village prosperous. One child, every 20 years. No names, no funerals, just silence." A cold wind passed through the clearing. Birds scattered from the irako tree. "We told the people it was sickness," he said. "We told them the gods required nothing more than prayer. But behind closed doors, we gave the grove blood." Elder Madhu buried his face in his hands. "We thought it would end with us." "It never ends," Okari said. "Truth doesn't die. It sleeps." At the edge of the square, a child stood listening. A young boy, no older than 7. His name was Somadina, and his brother had vanished the year before. He ran home without speaking. By midday the story had spread. Mothers clutched their children tighter. Fathers avoided eye contact. Young people whispered at the stream. And the drum didn't beat that day. It waited. But in every corner of Oji-Obodo, hearts had begun to echo it. Not with sound, but with the weight of everything they had chosen not to see. The night came heavy. No crickets sang. Even the wind held its breath. Ugonma lay beside her mother, eyes fixed on the ceiling, the beat of the drum pulsing faintly within her chest. "It doesn't stop," she whispered. Nena nodded. "Tonight we make offering, not to silence it, but to understand." They entered the grove in darkness, Ugonma holding a small calabash of bitter cola and pepper. At the scorched tree, the drum waited. But it had changed, it bled now. Thick, dark drops soaked the red earth. "This is pain," Nena murmured. "And memory." They placed the offering. The drum pulsed. And then the forest showed its truth. A child tied to the tree, a midwife burning letters, a boy buried under udala roots. Then came a scream. Not from the grove, but from the village. A hut was burning. It was Chief Ayaka's. His secrets had tried to flee, but the drum had found him. Flames rose, his wife wailed, and his adopted daughter stood silent, unblinking. The villagers gathered. No one dared speak. No one was safe. Ugonma looked around, and the truth was clear. The drum had begun to purge. By morning she was gone. Her wrapper was folded neatly. No struggle. No farewell. Only her necklace, left at the drum's feet. And silence. She went willingly, the woman with no name told Nena. She entered the place where memory sleeps. She is not lost, she is listening. At dawn, the elders stood at the riverbank with trembling hands, calabashes held before the still water. They had come to confess. A shimmering spirit rose from the river, cloaked in bones and mist. 3 were taken. 1 was not yours to give, it said. Only the drum can decide. In the grove, Ugonma opened her eyes. She now stood in a space beyond time, fireflies circling her. The drum floated before her, pulsing like a heartbeat. The truth wasn't in the village or the elders. It was in her blood. She was the child they spared, the imbalance they created. And now, the voice the drum had waited for. That night the ground shook. In the village square, the people gathered and saw her. Ugonma glowing faintly, the drum hovering above her hands. "I am the collector," she said. "The debt that was hidden. The truth that was buried." The drum beat once, and all saw the vision. A newborn taken, a life switched, a lie sealed in blood. And when the dust settled, 3 elders lay lifeless on the ground. Ugonma turned toward the forest and walked. In the grove she knelt one final time. The drum sank into the earth, the roots curling around it. "May your silence never be forgotten," she whispered. Golden fireflies lit the trees. A warm wind rose, and the village exhaled. At dawn the people emerged. Lighter changed. The truth had spoken. Ugonma walked through the forest, not as a girl, not as a vessel, but as a story now carried by the wind. The drum was silent, but its truth would echo forever. If you have this story interesting, kindly like, share, and subscribe.